Well, good morning. We're having a little flashing light on the stage, so I decided I'd come down here and spend the morning with you so you didn't have to all look at that flashing light all morning long. So let's kick off the service by reading, or if you already know it, saying it by heart, our mission statement that's on the front of your bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. That's what we are doing here at Living Beyond Limits, is we are awakening to our own divine nature, to that truth that that one spirit, that one presence, that one power, that one life, that one beingness is the very essence of who we are, that we have each come here as incarnations of that light and love and peace and wholeness and power and goodness. Because what happens when we recognize that and when we live in an awareness that that is always a part of our being, then when the world is not being kind or loving or generous or peaceful, we aren't reliant on it being out there in order for us to be it in here. When we recognize that that is already inside of us, then we can tap into that and bring peace forward, or love, or goodness, or whatever it is that the world is calling for. And as we do that, then we consciously participate in our own evolution, and because we are connected to everyone and everything, we actually affect the whole. And so I thank each and every one of you for saying yes to the call of your own spirit, to be walking this path, to be bringing your light and your heart and your spirit into this world in a way that makes a difference. Thank you for that. So last week I talked about love and how love is always present in our lives, in the joyful times and in the difficult times, and that capital L, love, is the thing that carries us through those difficult times. It's the thing that sustains us and unfolds through us, the thing that enables us to keep on keeping on and to grow through those challenges and difficulty so that we expand and so that we can live our best lives. So today I'm talking about love again, except I'm talking today about the love within us, that love that moves through us. And I'm talking about love as a spiritual practice. Loving others, loving ourselves, and loving the planet upon which we live. You know, as spiritual beings having a human experience, we want to experience love. We want to express love, we want to give love, we want to share love. Because when we do, we are actually actualizing our spirit. And it is when we express love and share love and give love that we actually experience love. Because love really isn't an intellectual activity. Love is really an action. It's a way of being. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of acting. One of the things that happens when we share our love with another person, we experience a connection with them. Whether that's somebody in your family or one of your friends, someone that you care about, or even a stranger on the street. When you express love, we feel that automatic connection like you did with the homeless man that you just mentioned. You know, and as spiritual beings, because we are primarily spiritual beings, we long to experience that connection with each other. It feels so good to us. I really think that part of that reason is before we took these human bodies, living this human experience, I really believe that we lived all of the time in that experience of connectedness, that experience of oneness, where there were no boundaries between us and someone else. We were this pool of collective beingness And so I think that today in our lives, when we share our love with someone, and then we experience that connectedness with them, I think it takes us back to that place within us that knows that that is home. That place where it feels so good that we came from, and we long to move back there, even if it's just for moments in time. We come home to ourselves and home to our spirits when we do that. And I think the more that we live in that awareness of that reservoir of love that lives within us, the more we feel spirit. I think the more aware we are of that love within us, we actually experience and see beauty more in the world. I think that we feel more connected to people and to the earth and to everything on this planet and to spirit itself. At our very deepest level, we long to experience that truth of oneness, to experience our spirit, to experience our own I amness. We long also to bring our own spirit into our lives and into this world. We long to be a beneficial presence. When we do any of those things, it allows us to touch that I am presence of our own being. The problem is sometimes we don't love, we don't experience that connectedness, we don't come from oneness all the time. Sometimes we do, but we certainly don't do it all the time. And I think that one of the reasons that we don't come from love and connection and connectedness all of the time is because we think that our anger and our judgment and our hatred for people who don't see things the way that we do, we think that somehow that energy is going to change things for the better. We think that our anger and our judgment will change things for the better, and if not that, at least maybe punish them a little bit. Has that ever worked for you? Ever? That's not the way it works, but we tell ourselves that's what's going to happen. It's like subconscious. I think we also sometimes don't come from that place of love and connection because we forget that we are primarily spiritual beings and that we are walking this spiritual path and that our very life is our spiritual path. Our life isn't separate from our spiritual path. Our individual life is our spiritual path. Everything that's on it is part of our spiritual path, not by accident. The third thing is when we look through the eyes of our ego and through that very human perspective, we see everything as separate and apart and distinct from us. We don't see from that human perspective that the truth is we're all connected, that we're all part of the one. We see ourselves as separate and distinct instead of seeing and perceiving oneness and connection. We see otherness, we see competition, we see enemies. And the last reason I think that we don't come from love and connection all the time is simply because we forget how satisfying it feels when we do. We forget how expansive it feels. We forget how right it feels when we do that. At Centers for Spiritual Living, one of the core teachings is oneness. It is that oneness is fundamental reality. There is one life, one power, one presence, and that every single person, every single object, every single living being is an expression of that one presence. And if everything is an expression of that one presence, then we are all interconnected with each other. Ernest Holmes said, "We see that the first principle of life is oneness. The first performance of life is multiplying itself without dividing itself. Life must be one, and that one, in order to be expressed, must be many. But the many, in order to exist, must live in the one. That idea is called panentheism, and this is not the only philosophy that believes in panentheism. For one, Hinduism believes in panentheism. Most mystics believe in panentheism, that spirit is within us, that spirit is both outside of us and bigger than us, but also within us, immanent, transcendent and immanent. Ernest Holmes talks about that God expresses itself, unfolds itself as everything without diminishing itself. It's still an infinite presence, and it expresses within and through and as us. Thich Nhat Hanh, who was a Buddhist monk, taught the idea of interbeingness. And one of the ways that he explained that is if you look at a piece of paper, inside the paper is the tree. And inside the tree is the rain and the cloud that particular rain came out of and the sun. That inside that piece of paper is also the logger and the saw and the person that created the saw, as well as the parents of the logger and the parents of the person that created the saw and their grandparents. And it goes on and on and on, that everything has interbeingness. So that means then we are not separate. Instead, we are part of the interbeingness of everything. Everything is reliant on everything else and part of everything else. What that also means then, according to Thich Nhat Hanh, is that if there is suffering in this world, an individual cannot really be separate from that suffering or immune to it. And that's what Ernest Holmes called race consciousness. That everything that has ever been said or thought or done exists in this field of consciousness, and we live in it. We are privy to it. We tap into it. We don't even know. We believe that winter is cold season, and the erroneous beliefs that are part of this human collective psyche that actually affects our thinking, even though we're not always aware of it. And so the title of this talk, like Harold just said, is What is Love? What's love got to do with it? And I'm talking about that living a spiritual life includes a commitment to thinking and acting in ways that honor love, that honor our interconnectedness, that honor our interbeingness. It also means then, if we're all connected, that when we care for another person, or when we care for the earth or the environment, that ultimately we are also caring for ourselves. What I do to you, I also do to me, because we're part of this whole. And when we are led by Spirit, when we're led by our hearts, when we're led by our own spirits, when we're led by love, then our choices serve each other, and our choices serve the whole. It serves everyone. In Joshua 24:15, it says, "Choose this day whom you will serve. Will you serve love or anger? Will you serve love or judgment? Will you serve love or otherness or indifference? Choose this day whom you will serve." There's a story that says, a student was assigned to write an essay about an effective, A student assigned to write an essay about an effective leader wrote this story. "I've been taking a bus to school for years. Most passengers keep to themselves, and no one talks to anyone else. About a year ago, an elderly man got on the bus and said loudly to the driver, "Good morning." Most people looked up, annoyed, and the bus driver just grunted. The next day, the man got on at the same stop and again said loudly, "Good morning," to the driver. Another grunt. By the fifth day, the driver relented and greeted the man with a semi-cheerful "Good morning." The man announced, "My name is Benny," and asked the driver, "What's yours?" The driver said his name was Ralph. That was the first time any of us had heard that bus driver's name. And soon people began to talk to each other and say hello to Ralph and to Benny. Soon Benny extended the cheerful "good morning" to the whole bus. Within a few days, "good morning" was returned by a whole bunch of other "good mornings," and the entire bus seemed to be friendlier. People got to know each other. If a leader is someone who makes something happen, Benny was our leader in friendliness. A month ago, Benny didn't get on the bus, and he hasn't been seen since. Everyone began to ask about Benny, and lots of people said he may have died. No one knew what to do, and the bus got awful quiet again. So last week, I started to act like Benny and said "good morning" to everyone, and they cheered up again. I guess I'm the leader now. I hope Benny comes back to see what we started. We are called to love. We are called to care for each other. We are called to remember our interconnectedness with each other. You know, I've realized that the more aware I am that reservoir of love lives within me, the easier it actually is for me to love people. The more I stay aware of that, the easier it is to readily share my love, the easier it is to forgive people, the more compassion I experience. And our ability to love people who are challenging is absolutely proportionate to our awareness of that love within us and our experience of that love. It dictates how we see the world. It's the lens through which we see and dictates how we engage with other people. The way that we interact with the world is shaped by our awareness of that love that is within us. And that love gets expressed as compassion. It gets expressed as forgiveness, as deep listening, and our willingness to hear another person's perspective even when we don't agree with it. That love shows up as our willingness to be of service. That love is expressed through our choices and through our actions and through our words, through our acts of service, through how we show up in the world for others and for ourselves. Swati Singh said, "Love asks us to grow larger so that love itself doesn't have to shrink." Love asks us to grow larger so that love itself doesn't have to shrink. So I would like to invite you to join me in a meditation. So I invite you to assume the position and to allow yourself to become quiet and to release the outside world and to find that place deep within you where there is perfect peace. That place of calm, that place where spirit resides. In this place is perfect understanding, perfect balance and poise, absolute well-being, and a love that is beyond comprehension. This love is the true essence of who we really are. This love is the energy that your body is made of. This love is that which connects you to all other people. It is the energy that you share and communicate and exchange with all people whom you come in contact with. Love is that which makes your heart beat. It is that which breathes you and lives you. You were created out of love and are sustained and maintained by love. This capital L love is all there really is. It is the energy from which everything is made. This capital L love is who and what you really are. And so I invite you to allow yourself to feel that love well up from within you, and to expand outward so that it fills your entire being. This love is the love of the Infinite One. This love is the one and only power in the universe. Allow it to fill your awareness, and to know that this is the truth of your being. This love is that which heals all. It is that which makes everything whole. In this love of the infinite spirit, there is only wholeness and perfection. This is the truth of your being. This is the truth of your beingness. And so I invite you just to rest in that awareness for a moment. And so when you're ready, I invite you to begin to release the meditation. And to bring your awareness back to this room, feeling your body in the chair and your feet on the floor. Taking a deep breath. And so we are called to remember that we are each personifications of Spirit. And that Spirit expresses through us as love expresses through us. We are called to be the love that we wish to see in the world. And we are called to bring our spiritual essence to life. Bell Hooks said, "All awakening to love is a spiritual awakening." So my invitation to you is to choose love, to be open to love, to be the way that love shows up in this world, and to know that Spirit is always expressing as love. It only takes your willingness. And know that as you bless others with your love, that you are also blessing yourself, the whole of things, because we are all interconnected. And I'm going to close with a quote by Swati Singh. "Love asks nothing from us but the courage to keep our hearts open." Love asks nothing of us but the courage to keep our hearts open. And so blessings to each and every single one of you as you bring your spirit to this world and make love more greatly known in everything that you do. Blessings to you. And so I invite you to join me as we turn our attention to that absolute, unchanging, eternal truth, which is that the presence of the Infinite One is right here, that we are surrounded by it, we are enveloped in it. We live and move and have our beingness in it, for we walk in that presence and with that presence everywhere we go, in everything that we do. And that most high God and that innermost God are one God. Therefore, that presence that expresses itself as our very life also expresses itself as the life within us, as our own beingness, as the love that we feel and the love that we share and the love that buoys us and carries us forward, that is always encouraging us and making the way open and plain and smooth. And so I know right now that we each are indeed a blessing. For all we need to do is open our hearts and keep them open, and that love of the divine flows through us out into this world, into our relationships, into our places of work, into our activities, into all that we think, through our perception. Through all of it is this one presence unfolding itself, revealing itself, for it has always been. And today we become more aware of that presence. And one of the ways we become more aware of it is to recognize that love is right here, right now, at every moment. And so I speak this word also for every other person on this planet, recognizing that the infinite presence is right where they are also, and that it is the infinite potentiality and creativity and love that can master every single seeming problem that we have. And so right now we accept the solution, we accept the answer, we accept the way forward, knowing that it too has been here all along. And today we open ourselves to that, creating a way for it to flow into this world. And of course, I speak this word right now for every politician in this country, every world leader, every decision maker, knowing that the infinite intelligence and goodness and wisdom and order is present within each and every single one of them, and that it is bigger than any seeming challenge or difficulty or struggle or whatever. That presence is revealing itself within each and every single one of them as decisions that support humankind, as decisions that support the thriving of this planet. That spirit is having its way in and through each of them. And so we rest in that truth. And when we can't see it, we reaffirm it. We know it. We lean back into it. And so I release this prayer into that creative law of the universe, knowing that it is unfolding itself all around us. And so we celebrate that. We accept that. We revel in that. And I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. And so I have a couple of invitations for you. One is July 10th at 6:30. We are having a fundraising concert at Joy Jane's house starring Harold Payne. Woohoo! It's going to be 6:30 p.m. It's going to be a light dinner and dessert and music, and the cost is $50. We are going to start selling tickets shortly. Just wanted you to put that on your calendar, July 10th. So Mike Winterer has set up something new on our website we've been talking about a lot, and it is we are going to start having our calendar of events on the website, as well as some of our sign-up sheets. So you can sign up here, or you can sign up from home, including like snacks. And here's a really cool thing. Let's say you sign up for snacks in 3 weeks. The Monday before that, you get an email. Don't forget, you signed up for snacks. And then Friday before, it's like, you signed up for snacks. We'll see you Sunday. Isn't that so cool? So what we're gonna ask of you, and we can do sign-ups for all sorts of things. The website's on here. Go on the website and sign up as a member. It has you fill out a little profile, and then he's also set it up so, I forget how it goes. You fill it out, he gets an email, he has to say yes, then you get another one, and then you finish your registration, so we don't have bots signing up on our website, because we've been having a lot of that. Not on our website, but on our MailChimp thing. So anyway, that's it. Fun, huh? So, our Sunday talks are available on our website. We have prayer support after service. We invite you to like us and follow us on our social media platforms. I invite you to repeat after me, good fills my life now. I recognize it. I savor it. I love it. I live it. And so it is.